Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we're going to be reviewing MCC Season 4 Kickoff. Before I begin, disclaimer, or warning I guess, if you haven't watched the event and you care about spoilers, click off, visit this video back later when you have watched the event, because I will be talking about, you know, placements of teams, placements of players, who wins, etc, etc, okay? So, a lot of spoilers here. If you plan to watch the event, still haven't watched it yet, there's your warning. Okay, let's get into it. So, MCC Season 4 Kickoff, as of this recording and probably as of this upload date, happened last night, and it was really good. I must say, fantastic event. Shout out to the Noxru and Scott for putting on an absolutely incredible starting event for Season 4. My hopes are pretty high now for this season. Obviously, near the latter half, or just near the end of Season 3, people were a little worried because things were pretty monotone, I guess, in terms of MCC progression. Super happy to see what's gone on here. You know, a big batch of new gameplay content, which I'll also go over. What I'll do, by the way, format-wise for this video, I'll look at MCC Live just so in a bit. To, you know, look at the scores a little bit, but I'm gonna mainly use it at the bulk at the end for stuff to look at. This will probably be a long video because I'll talk about it a lot. Anyways, but yeah, fantastic event, very good. Teams were cool. Balancing was pretty solid. I wouldn't say that there was any overpowered teams in this event. I think the performances that were put on by the players just depended on the game progression. Obviously, there was the pink team, which was expected to do lower, and I think the blue team, blue team did a little bit lower, which was mainly caused by the PvP games being early. They also didn't have the greatest luck in the PvP games, which was unfortunate. I also don't need to look at this anymore. This was just to cover the spoilers, because if I just go up here, boom. The winning team was red, by the way. Genuine surprise, but a very welcome surprise. Kara finally gets her second win. Fine and Shield, as debut newcomers, get their win. I think Ollie gets his second or third win. I think maybe the third one now, or the fourth. I think he's won 3 times. Either way, a pretty fresh batch of people in terms of winning, which is very exciting, very nice. And yeah. Also, I forgot to mention this. I want to mention this now. Okay, I know this is maybe not the most on-topic thing, but viewership and support on this channel has been through the roof. This has been the highest that this support has been since, like, start of Season 3 MCC, maybe near the end of Season 2 MCC. I assume it's probably because of the influx of Hermit audience members, and I'm super grateful for that. So just wanted to say thanks for the boost. The views, by the way, to compare, it's like double what it used to be. So this watch party is also a 1 out of 10 right now. So fantastic. Thanks everyone. Appreciate it. But yeah. So finale ended up being Aqua versus Red. Red was the most unexpected one out of these because we expected the newcomer diff to kick in way harder than it actually did. Aqua, I don't think, was typically placed high. People assumed that Lime Team and Yellow Team, I think, were going to be the more dominant teams, and obviously that was not the case. I know Fruit had some unfortunate, unlucky gameplay. I didn't really watch too much of Lime, so I can't really comment on what happened there. But if you look at the scores here, the point gaps aren't that crazy. Like, this could have gone pretty much either way. I think the main reason why things ended up going the way that they did was because of the game order. Obviously, that's always a big factor. But I genuinely think that this top 8, you could have kind of just scrambled it, and it would have been, you know, it would have been fine. I think any team placing anywhere higher or lower would have just made sense, because I think typically in our predictions, 5th, 6th, and 7th ended up being the top 3: Lime, Yellow, and Purple. Obviously, they ended up getting 5th, 6th, and 7th, but you know, I still think this makes sense as a you know, a board in terms of placements. I think this makes a lot of sense. Anyways, I won't get back to the MCC Live tab until later, because we're going to be looking at every individual game afterwards, so I can review the gameplay changes, performance, etc. just some other things to talk about. I just looked on the Reddit. I don't want to use too much content here, but I'll use a little bit. This might repeat itself when we do another Reddit roundup. But viewership is one thing I want to talk about. Someone made a post about Joel's viewership because Joel apparently had like 9K, 10K, 11K at some point, starting off with like 5,000, 6,000, which is incredible, obviously. But viewership overall for this event was just fantastic, and this was one thing that I talked about quite a bit going into the break for MCC, was the Hermit audience. Obviously, the Hermit audience is a very cohesive group. It's a community that's very strong and very supportive of their creators, and I think that reflects onto MCC here as well, which is why I hope to continue seeing an influx of Hermits, whether it's new ones, infrequent ones. Just I hope to see the roster build on the Hermits similarly to how the roster built on Dream SMP in Season 2, where the bulk of creators, the majority, is Hermitcraft members or Hermitcraft associates, etc. I think that would be cool. I think that would make the most sense. I think the Hermit audience would love that. You get to see a bunch of collaboration, interaction with just the frontrunners of Minecraft YouTube and some of the people over on Twitch, and different communities, different skill sets, different everything merges together. I think that's perfect, super cool, and I hope we see it continue forward. One thing I might make a separate video about is players and who I expect to see return going forward. One person that comes to mind is Tango, because I know Tango was having a little bit of trouble during the event. He had fun for the most part, but he was very hard on himself, which, you know, some people have that mentality. I mean, I can't really judge it. It's fine. I know that Tango did kind of talk about this before he joined, not like super recent before, but in his mention of MCC, he was a little worried about his performance and how it may be perceived, and obviously that has reflected, especially in a game like Sands of Time, which was just really unfortunate because I think he was looking forward to it, and it just turned out to be really difficult. I think for Tango's sake, it would be very interesting to maybe reattempt MCC alongside someone like JoJo or H-Bomb, or just another higher tier player who doesn't really mind having, you know, a teammate who performs lower, because it's a standard. It's a standard, and I think it would be really enjoyable for Tango as well to do that. Maybe for a non-canon, whether that's like a Pride, which is also a charity event, which I think would make the mentality a lot better as well, because it's no longer super competitive focused and more like for fun focused. I think would be really good for him. Either way, viewership was incredible. Joel had like 9,000. Tango had like 9.5 thousand. I think Impulse had like 5 point something. I wasn't really paying attention to too much else. I think Fine had like 3.5. Just overall, viewership was really nice. I don't know the overall number. I don't know if MCC, Noxtru, or other viewers track it. But if I had to guess, I'd say it was probably close to 50,000 maybe, or like 40 to 50K, probably in between there. But I could be off. It could be way higher. It could be lower. I don't really know. I assume Chilled also had like 3 to 5,000 because he typically does. And Smallent, I think, had like 3,000. So it might be a little higher. But I would say around 50,000 is probably what they got for viewership. And that's really good. I'm really happy to see that. And hopefully they can consistently keep that up. Because, you know, I don't know if MCC ever plans to do sponsors. But 50K average viewers, they can get some pretty good stuff out of that if they really wanted to. Anyways, moving on, this is now going to be talking more about performances of the players individually instead of the event overall. So here we go. Shower thoughts. At this very moment, Aqua is still in 9th place as a team in the 6th game of this MCC event. Within the next minute, they will move up to 2nd as a team. That is true. Aqua team was in 9th. They absolutely decimated Bingo. We'll get to that when we get to the MCC live tab. But they went crazy in Bingo. I think they probably had a pretty solid SOT. I don't really know. And I think Hole in the Wall probably went decent. We can actually just look at it real quick. Yeah, Aqua sweeping Bingo, really just nothing to beat around there. That's just sweeping. Also, a 2.5x multiplier is just insane. I still am in agreement that multipliers in events are maybe a little bit too much, but I also think it makes for interesting things like this, you know, where just a team surprisingly makes a really big comeback. Aqua did middle of the pack in hole in the wall, and I think in SOT they did solid. So yeah, pretty good. As you can see, a lot of these teams were pretty close. Cyan also swept SOT, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, Aqua team, big surprise that they came back. I think the main reason why they got so many points at the same time was because they got the middle bingo, which not a lot of people did, I think. I could be wrong. But because MCC scoring in bingo, I think is mostly based on the bingo rows, which I don't know if it's just vertical, horizontal, or if diagonal also counts. If diagonal counts, they would have gotten 2 rows at the same time from getting the minecart, unless they also got the thing below the minecart, which I don't know. I didn't watch Aqua much, I think, or at all for bingo. But that's probably why, which is insane. That's actually incredible. Anyways, moving on. Shane FBM, my hero. Shane actually got first, and I think this kind of got overshadowed because people were mainly paying attention to Feinberg. Obviously, Fein was headed to place first individual and also place Dodgebolt and also possibly win. At the time, we didn't know yet. The event, which was insane. Obviously, for a debut event in MCC on a team that was seen as underpowered, that is insane. Now, the team ended up being pretty good because Kara and Ollie did just great. They both got top half, and Chilled actually did a lot better than expected as well, which is really good. Whether that is mainly because of the team or whether he just performed well in the individual games, I don't really know. I didn't really watch Chilled much. Either way, Shane got first, which is really good. I think he had like a third place team. Yeah, he had like a third place team. Yes, so pretty good. Definitely not something to overlook. Okay, good job, Shane. And I know Shane talked with me about it. He was like, "Man, I got first and nobody's talking about it." I was like, "Look, man, you're next to Feinberg. People love Feinberg, and I mean, people do love Feinberg, but people also love FireBreathMan sometimes." Anyways, next up. Yeah, there was some battle box gameplay this event that was kind of insane. We can look at these muted a little bit, but like we're not playing the entire clip. But like the blue team, unfortunately, had to deal with 2 of the most incredible clutches ever watched in MCC history. Here you see Joel clutching up. I think he also got another kill this round. I could be wrong, but insane clutch. Very interesting shaped green thing here in the middle to make the win. Good job, Joel. I didn't watch this during the event. Oh, my mic just peaked. I didn't watch this during the event, but I thought it was really cool in retrospect when I looked at this clip. I don't know. Does he actually get a kill? Eret, and then Eret dies to Shane, and then Hannah also dies to Joel. So yeah, Joel gets a 3k to win this round. Incredible. Feinberg also against the blue team. Poor blue team. Absolutely destroyed them here. The clutch was incredible. Dave, I think, yeah, Dave tries to just get Fein out here. Barely misses out. Eret and Michael come into play here. Boom. So that's the 2nd kill, 3rd kill, and just like this gameplay here. I'll just let this play out because it was insane. This was ridiculous. You see this? Break block, standoff, shoot each other, but because Fein broke the block, they win the round. Probably the most insane thing I've seen this event. Fein, furthermore, did insane in the event as well. He got like almost a 3-peat in Hole in the Wall on his debut event. Insane. And now brings up the question, Fein future teaming. Guys, what can you do with Feinberg now? Because people thought this team was underpowered and his teammates just did a lot better now. Who do you put him with next? I see one particular one that I think is interesting is this. Fein, Pearl, Scar, Izuma. Do you just give Feinberg Pearlescent Moon? Maybe Pearl, if she really wants to win, give her Feinberg, and Fein will make sure that it happens. I don't know who the other players on the team would be, but it could be fun. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, this applies to blockers as well, and this not so much for PB now, but and not so much for Mayhem either. It's mainly blockers and MCC that have to pay attention to this. But yeah, Feinberg, he's kind of good at the game, guys. I have a suspicion that he might be a little bit good at the game. Anyways, now to get to the bulk of the video. Reviewing every game, okay? I will be going over my thoughts from memory, because obviously I want to be transparent in my first impression of these games, or these changes. My thoughts on the gameplay changes, and just on some performances if they stood out. Starting off with Sky Battle. Sky Battle I don't think had too big of a change. I know the map was slightly adjusted. It seemed fine. I mostly watched Fruitberries. I think I actually pretty much exclusively watched Fruitberries during this game. So obviously I have a bit of a biased good player POV. I have no clue how this was experienced from lower placing player POVs or from teams that didn't do as well. But the map seemed pretty decent. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't call it bad, obviously. I wouldn't call it the best. I think it was good. Yeah, let me know for anyone who maybe watched some of the lower placing POVs, if this map had anything particular going on, or if there was anything that you thought was good or bad. Either way, the performances from the teams are about as expected. This makes a lot of sense. You know, the yellow team was the favorite going into Sky Battle. Blue team's a PvP team. Shane and Joel getting like 12 kills was insane as well. Yeah, Shane and Joel did really good. I think Joel ended up actually Joel ended up out-fragging Shane, which was really funny because he just got an absolute ton of kills, which was really good. Jimmy also, I forgot to mention, Jimmy was like second fragging throughout the event pretty much the entire time. I don't know if he ended up in second frag. Let's actually look. Did he? No, he didn't. Okay, but he, like, for the majority of the event, he was second fragging, which I thought was incredible. False also, I think, ended up second fragging at the end of the event. Yeah, barely ended up second fragging, which is incredible. Super cool, super good. Anyways, so yeah, Sky Battle, nothing too particular going on. I thought it was fine. I wouldn't, yeah, like I said, I think if I had played in this, I wouldn't have given feedback about Sky Battle, because it would have been redundant. I thought it was just solid, pretty good. Smith also getting 13 is very nice. Anyways, next up, Rocket Spleef. This was a big one in question for me personally, because obviously when I did my reaction to the update video, I was a little hesitant about this one because the change was that essentially the game changed from the event Rocket Spleef to MCC Island Rocket Spleef, and that was like interesting, I think. I mostly watched, or I pretty much exclusively watched the POVs from people who did well in it. I typically watch the POVs from people who do well in it. I can imagine that this was probably not fun at all for the weaker players because the difficulty level in Rocket Spleef Rush, and Rocket Spleef in general, mostly Rocket Spleef Rush, was already really high for people who are inexperienced and just new or not as, yeah, just inexperienced is probably a good way to say it. People who are inexperienced with this game typically don't do good in this game at all, especially on their debut. Now with this MCCI change, it is more skill-based and more aggressive. These players now have a lot more factors to deal with, and I think it's too much to handle. I think it makes it too difficult, and I hope that it at least gets adjusted for the next time that it's played. I assume it probably won't be in Pride because it is just that much of a skill-based game. I could definitely see it being in the Twitch Rivals, in which I don't think it should be changed necessarily because that is a skill-based like event. But I hope that whether it's a modifier or whatever, I hope that the older version of Rocket Spleef Rush becomes a bit more, or that this current version becomes a bit more like the older version, whether it's more like Rocket Spleef or Rocket Spleef Rush, just less PvP focused and more, newcomer friendly, etc. I think that is the main complaint I have about this. Because the one thing that was very obvious from the chat and from the people getting eliminated during the game was that right away a bunch of people would get eliminated, which is mostly the unexperienced newcomer players. Then it would be kind of quiet, similar to Hole in the Wall, kind of quiet. Then a bunch of people keep getting eliminated, and then it just continuously goes on. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that the Rocket Spleef changes were great, but good player POVs, the top player POVs seemed nice. but the weaker player PvPs I assumed were not as great. I don't know how the players perceived it or what their feedback was. I heard people on the Reddit say that the players didn't like it either. I don't know if that is true, but yeah. Next up, Battle Box. I already talked about it briefly, but I saw this on the Reddit as well. This Battle Box map was actually pretty good. I liked it. I don't know if this is going to be like a exclusive one because of the Star Wars theme, because it is like a spaceship type of theme, but it was pretty nice. I liked it. It was pretty good. Oh, also, I forgot to mention in the Rocksmith thing, Purple Team, fantastic performance. Just wanted to mention that. Really good. Pink Team, also not bad. They held up decently well, okay? If you compare this to, like, you know, the other games, the 440 is pretty good. Anyways, back to Battle Box. Yeah, map was pretty good. The kits, I'm not too sure about. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was necessarily good. I think it was neutral. Because, I already said this in another server, not on video. The battle kit, or the Battle Box kit changes kind of just felt like there's an improvement and a decrease at the same time. Improvement is the kits have more impact. There's more use to the kits. They are, you know, like I said, more impactful in the gameplay. The downside is that it is more skill-based. They are probably a little bit less intuitive. I know someone mentioned the thing about, like, oh, well, a health potion is known to be a health potion. You know, the balance also of this health potion is that it takes time to drink. A spark activates right away. Sparks are probably obviously less strong than a potion usually is, but still. That's just a balancing thing with these items. I think they could further experiment with this change. I do, like I said, I do like the more impactful aspect of these kits. And I also like that there's more options, that there's 5 options instead of 4. That's good, because it allows for different strategies. But maybe try to use different items. Don't know specifically what. One thing, for example, that I think was really good was the levitation spark, because it allowed 2 players exclusively to fight on the top end, which was exclusive to the levitation spark players. For 2 people could fight on the top end, which is nice. I think that allowed for some different strategies. I think something like speed would be bad. I don't remember if speed was in, because speed is just such an advantage in PvP. I could see the healing not being the greatest. I think the healing your teammates kit was good. I think that's solid, as long as it's intuitive enough for the players to understand, because it's typically going to be given to players who are not as confident in PvP, which is typically the newcomers. So yeah, like I said, neutral. I think some parts were good, some parts were not great. Probably neutral, slightly leaning good, but overall decent. To get to the other side, I thought it was okay. Also, forgot to mention, Battle Box, obviously, a red team popped off. This was unexpected to see red team in first. I know Fine ended up getting like 12 kills or something like that, a ridiculous amount. He was kind of kill stealing, but whatever, who cares? It's all about the team performance anyways at the end of the day. But yeah, red team did fantastic. Very, very nice. Next up, yeah, To Get To Your Side. I thought To Get To Your Side was okay. I'm personally not the biggest To Get To Your Side fan. I know that's somewhat shared of an opinion, at least by some of my friends. And yeah, it was okay. I think the tridents are interesting. Obviously, this is just an MCC thing in general. I personally probably won't like them that much whenever I get the chance to play with them. But maybe they are nice. I don't know. I just know that the tridents are a little unintuitive, especially for the new people. Hard to learn. It's just an entirely new mechanic that is, like I said, isn't very intuitive, because you kind of have to hold right click, but then don't hold right click because it auto fires. It's, I don't know. But yeah, I thought this new map, the golf one, was fine, I think, because when we watched it in the watch party, I think we were watching Shane. The directions weren't super obvious. Maybe Shane is just stupid and wasn't looking. Probably not. I think they were just not super obvious. because I think there's a section where you have to, I think it might have literally been what you see in the image over here, like a water block that's kind of just floating in the sky, and then right in front of you is like it's an elevated part that looks like you might just be able to reach it, but you can't. But then what you actually have to do is you have to go all the way to the left or all the way to the right on like a lower platform. A little bit confusing, but it's also nitpicking in the map specifically. I think the rest was fine. The To the Dome is just a good solid map. The Basins one was okay. It's mostly held back by the Trident mechanics, but I think it's okay. I think that was just a good solid thing. I don't really remember the other. There was Cliff. I know Cliff was interesting, to say the least. There was some toxicity going on, but that's always going on in Cliffs. I don't know if it's the best map, but I mean, it's funny, I guess, sometimes. You know, it can be silly. I think one thing people really missed was Terra Swoop Force, which would have probably helped a lot for this game. But I also think TSF is typically played first, so I don't know. It seemed like they played the publicly revealed maps first, and then they played the rest after, because there's 6 maps, or yeah, 6 maps in to get through side. I just don't really remember the other 2. Clearly they didn't really make that much of an impact on me, but that probably means that they're fine, because if they were bad I would have remembered, and if they were great I would have remembered, so they were just okay. Anyways, after the midway break was the new game. Okay, this one is definitely one to talk about, because I think it's a good game, but there's a catch, because maybe this is just my opinion. I thought it was pretty difficult to follow what was going on. This could be because I was watching a POV. I was watching Pink for the most part. This is the one game where I wasn't watching an S tier POV. We were watching, I think, Tango, and the Pink team play this, and they did really good, by the way. Pink team getting 4th, fantastic. But yeah, this game was interesting. I think it's probably fun to play. I could see this being really fun to play, and I'd want to play it. I know Misty also said this. Maybe this is going to be in Pride. Let's hope. Let's hope. If Misty's in Pride and this is in Pride, I think Misty would be very happy. Big smiley face, perhaps. Anyways, I think this game is good. I think it's fun to play, probably, if I had to guess. I don't know how this will... how much longevity this game has, because it is a pretty simple concept. Obviously the next time this is played, people are going to have more strategy to it, and etc, etc. Like, this is going to be more layers of technically sweatiness, I guess, that's introduced. Once people figure out strats, there will be a standard way to approach this game. But who knows? We also don't know what the gameplay changes are going to be for this event going forward. I don't really know what they could do. They could maybe introduce new mechanics to it. But I like it. It's fun. Just a cool little game. Definitely not the most groundbreaking game, obviously, but it was cool. I like it. Cool, solid game. Yeah, that's about it. Like I said, viewership-wise, or it's not viewership, viewer perspective-wise, it was a little hard to follow what was going on. Obviously you can see it, but it's similar to Build Mart in terms of being engaged in the gameplay. It feels more like a background thing to watch, which I guess is fine. But that applies to most puzzle / teamwork related games that aren't PvP or parkour. So yeah, solid, but yeah, interesting. Also, this game order was very odd. I think if you literally flipped it from, well, okay, not flipped it. If you almost entirely flipped it, it would have made more sense. So, hey, cool picks, I guess, from the event players. Anyways, moving on. Bingo! Sorry, I have a yawn. My bad. Bingo was solid. I think this map was different, which I think is interesting. Again, I watched Feinberg for the most part, who obviously is one of the top players for this game. And that was really cool to watch. Like, the teamwork there was really solid. I really liked, or really enjoyed that. Can't really comment on much else for Bingo. I think this is just okay. You know, maybe the map wasn't favorable, maybe it was. For certain players, clearly it was, because Aqua team absolutely dominated here. But yeah, I don't know. Just Bingo was cool. I like Bingo. Solid. I like it. And then next up, Hole in the Wall. Oh yeah, I should mention, yeah, Aqua Team dominated. I don't know, I think I already said that, but yeah, Aqua Team Sweepington. Also funny, Ant Frost talked about bingo a lot. He was like, I don't know, I think my team probably won't do well because I'm not that great at bingo. And then the chat was like, but you have Smallland, lock out the bingo man. They got 9th. Interesting. Respectfully, of course, respectfully. Galen leaderboard here for Hole in the Wall. Hole in the Wall points, kind of insane because looking at this, first of all, Shane's team getting 9th was not expected, but not super surprising either. If you look at the point differential compared to the other games, like, kind of crazy. Keep in mind, the multipliers apply too. So you see all the point differences, right? So you see, like, oh, double points, blah, 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 etc., etc. Hole in the Wall, nothing. Obviously pink team, but we can't really factor pink team in too much here. Hole in the Wall did, like, nothing here. In terms of a point differential, had pretty much no impact on the event. I'm sure that it actually ended up mattering. Okay, I say almost had no impact on the event. Not true, because clearly the point difference between 1st and 9th probably had a lot of influence on the Dodgebolt scores. But I think if instead of Hole in the Wall it was Meltdown, that would have had way more impact to compare. I mean, like, saying that Hole in the Wall did nothing is false, but if Hole in the Wall wasn't there, another game would be there. And if Meltdown was in, that would have done a lot more. So yeah, either way, Hole in the Wall gameplay, it's standard. I don't think the new walls did too much to differ the gameplay. I thought there was one thing that was very standout, that stood out a lot for this map, or maybe it's just Hole in the Wall in general. The progression of this game is odd. So when a round starts, you have, some people die immediately because they don't really know how to play Hole in the Wall, which is fine. Then it's kind of quiet for a little bit. Some people, fall off or whatever, like here and there. Then there's that one wall that just wipes out half the remaining players. And I always think that's very interesting because that causes a balancing issue. If 15 people essentially die at the same time, and there is obviously placement differential, I think, maybe, between those 15 people. Maybe it's just based on a wall survived, or maybe there's only a bonus. If there's not, then this would be fine, I guess. But 50 people dying at the same time is interesting. Or like 20. I know that, I think it was like round 1 or 2. The platform of players went from like 25 to 2 in the span of 20 seconds, or like maybe less. I don't know how that happened. I think it ended up being like Owen and Fine, and obviously Fine won. I think it was round 2. But that was insane. Like, it just went from like, oh, pretty much everyone's alive, to, oh, there's only 2 players, which is crazy. And yeah, obviously, need to mention that Feinberg almost three-peated his first event. He got first in round 1. He got first in round 2. I think he ended up placing like 20th in round 3. But that was insane. Not sure how he did that. I think it's mainly, sorry for the yawn, mainly because he practiced a bunch on MCCI, which is another big thing that I should talk about before I get into SOT. But he practiced a lot of on MCCI for Hole in the Wall. I think also maybe on the MCC practice server. So he just understood the mechanics clearly. Anyways, one thing I need to mention is MCC Island, because one big criticism, I guess, I have with this event, and maybe it's intentional and maybe, I have the wrong perspective on this, is that it felt super Island-esque. Obviously now Rocket Spleef went from having its own version compared to MCCI to just being the same as MCCI. Battlebox map is obviously unique, so that was cool, but it had the kits from MCCI, so that felt a little similar there too. I don't know if this Metro map is on MCCI, but this didn't really give off MCCI vibes, so whether it's on the server or not, I didn't really get the MCCI vibes. To get to your side, I mean, there's some maps on here that are on Island, so same thing. This is always the thing with To Get to Your Side. Also always this thing with Parkour Warrior, is that it just feels similar, which I think is unfortunate. It's cool to see this collective group of creators play these games, but when you've played these games yourself, I don't know. It's interesting. I understand the reasoning is probably because they want to advertise the content to be like, oh, you see this gameplay from this creator and you want to play it? Hop on MCC Island. It's really fun. But I don't know. I think it would be cooler if there was exclusive content to the event, but I understand the difficulty of doing that because already so much content is on MCCI. So yeah, this game obviously is new. Bingo's out on MCCI. Hole in the Wall was pretty much identical to Island. Obviously, there's no modifiers because the modifiers would absolutely piss every player off. But the map and the gameplay for the rest is the same. So that's probably why Feinberg did so good. Which also, it means that Feinberg doing good is kind of a reflection because the games that he absolutely dominated in were the games that are on, or the games he did really good in were the games that are on on Island. So yeah, and Bingo, because he's all advancements go. SOT at the end was just standard. I like the new rooms. I think every new room that I saw was interesting. Apparently there was a room that had like 12 spawners, maybe 15, maybe however many. Just a bunch of silverfish spawners, which just gave free coins. I think Sandwich mentioned it during the watch party that Fruitberries got like an absolute crap ton of points, which is insane. From that, and yeah, overall SOT was not bad. Not bad. I liked it. It was cool. Just the same as usual. So, but I think that's okay. I did kind of want it to not be played last. That did feel a little repetitive, but I guess it does add a nice little flavor to the event progression and the mystery of who may have won or who may not have won. So I don't know. It was cool though. Hopefully next time, and I know that probably next time is probably Pride, and if this is in Pride, then Amy's gonna play and all them, and they're gonna want it to be Game 8. But anyways, guys, okay, please, can we have SOT first half for once, maybe like Game 4, or like maybe it could be second half of maybe like not Game 8, because I'm kind of tired of it. Please, I want a different game to be last. SOT feels way more fresh when it's early, okay, because it's like a surprise. Game 8 SOT is like the most basic MCC standard thing of all time, and I want it to change. Please, okay? It's the same. MCC, Noxer did such a good job with freshening up the content, and Scott did such a good job with freshening up the player base, but then the players need to also follow suit. Don't just follow the same formats, okay? You did a pretty good job with the rest of the games. I mean, this game order was a little weird, but it's fine because the games you were given are also way different than usual because there's no movement games pretty much. But SOT last. Why? Please stop. Okay, please. I don't want it to be last. Anyways, Dodgebolts. Dodgebolts, I mean, it was a sweep. Okay, not a sweep. There was some pretty close, some close moments during the event. One in particular was, I think, round 2. Ollie Orion Sound. Mega clutch, 3 versus 1, insane, which is the reason why Aqua got 0 Dodgebolt round wins. Also, yeah, I mean, Dodgebolts is just Dodgebolts. I still like it. Good game. I think the main reason people were getting tired of it was just because it was played so often and just the same results pretty much happened every single time. You now actually got a fresh batch of people in Dodgebolt. Kara versus Pete and Kara versus Jordan were very particular. Also, 2 newcomers in Mythical Sausage had not been in Dodgebolt yet. Just a very interesting combination. So yeah. Also, Aqua team shooting up to first because of these games is insane. Here, if we look at the event leaderboard, this is already in the meme. Aqua went from 9th to 2nd. They gained how many points? Like 4.3k, and then they went from 2nd to still 2nd, but the gap actually kind of widened here. Interesting. The gap widened a little bit, but SOT, guess what? A lot of points. So they kind of came back and ended up getting first, which was insane. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can look at the individual placements as well and kind of pick out some cool performances. Like I said, Shane getting first, really nice. Fine getting second, really good. Ant getting third, really good. Shadoon getting fourth, really good. Obviously, the other placements are incredible too. Joel getting 7th, higher than predicted, but pretty good. Ollie Orion Sound 13th, insane. False Symmetry 15th, insane. Like, Kara Corvus 17th. Oh, Kara Corvus 17th, insane. Small at 20th. This was mostly because of SOT, because if you look at SOT at the game leaderboard, Cyan got 5.1k. By the way, 3 times multiplied divided by 3, 1,700 points. Divided by 4 is like 425, probably a little bit more. 431, I think. This no, like 425. Somewhere around 425 compared to blue, because you know, someone like Hannah getting 23rd is unexpected, but blue team clearly did not have the greatest time in SOT. This would have been like 400 divided by, this would have been 100-ish points per player, or 105-ish points per player. So 425 compared to 105, that's just a 320 point lead, and then guess what? The small end takes it. He actually absolutely sends off into space, which is really good. Chilled Chaos also getting 32nd was surprising, but welcome surprise. And then the bottom end was mostly Hermitcraft members, which makes sense because I feel like the Hermit teams overall, for the most part, weren't the strongest. They weren't bad. But obviously there was a 4-fun pink team. The green team was not a weak team, obviously, because they got 3rd. But obviously these are 2 of the lower placing Hermitcraft members, which is fine. Obviously made for a very fun combination. I think Cub and Iskal performed lower than people expected, but I think the team overall performed a little bit lower than expected. Callum and H about as predicted, but I think maybe the game order, the game roster, or maybe just unlucky things affected the Lime team. Falls did really good though, I must say, and Joel. Falls and Joel absolutely popped off, which is really good. Anyways, that's going to be it for my review of MCC Season 4 kickoff. Let me know what you thought about this event. I thought it was really cool. Very, very strong start, Season 4. And I'm excited to see what happens going forward. What gameplay changes will we see? What newcomers will we see? I might make a video about that soon, because I think it's an interesting topic. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.